All right, you are live.
Thanks, Kaylee. Good evening and welcome to the November meeting of the Northborough Conservation Commission. My name is Greg Young. I'm the chair of the commission. And this open meeting of the Northborough Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Healy's executive order of March 29, 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northborough Conservation Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Northborough Conservation Commission to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to review the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dan Clark.
Here.
Justin Dufresne.
Here.
Todd Helwig.
Here.
Diane Goldner.
Here.
Very good. Hello, Dan. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Vincent Vignali.
Here.
Kaylee. I know you're there, Kaylee.
Here.
They're very good, thank you. Some ground rules for presenters and or applicants on the agenda. The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until the name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote taken by the commission will be conducted by roll call vote. For items of public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. By phone, dial *9 to raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Please note that part of your phone number will be visible to those viewing the meeting. By Zoom, click raise hand on the bottom of your screen and wait to be recognized. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I will call each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. A reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be available for viewing by the Northborough Remote Meetings tab on the town's website. Diane, do you have the legal notice?
I do.
Go right ahead.
There will be a meeting of the Northborough Conservation Commission on Monday, November 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative in extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law on March 29th, 2023. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members or public permitted. To participate in the public comment portion of this hearing, go to Northborough Remote Meetings YouTube channel or the town website for Zoom information included in the posted meeting agenda. The meeting will include the following hearings pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Northborough Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and or the Northborough Stormwater Management and Land Disturbance Bylaw. Application for a notice of intent at 405 Howard Street, map 31, parcel 1, owned by Sarah Hopkins, to construct a pool and a patio within a 100-foot wetland buffer zone. Applications for notice of intent and stormwater management and land disturbance permit at 0 Boundary Street, map 31, parcel 9, owned by the town of Northborough to construct a 2-acre ADA accessible dog park with parking, utilities, and stormwater management infrastructure within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone. Application for notice of intent at 6 Sherland Drive, map 14, parcel 77, owned by Eric Longfellow, to replace a failed septic system in the 100-foot buffer zone. And last, application for a request for determination of applicability at 487 Green Street, map 10, parcel 9, owned by Richard and Annette Courier, to replace a failed septic system in the outer 100-foot buffer zone. And that's everything.
Great, thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Meeting minutes, October 16th. And Vinny, please tell Brenda that the meeting minutes are really very well done.
Yeah, she is. She's doing a great
Very
job.
good.
She's jumping
good.
right in here.
Yes. Any questions or comments, changes, updates by the commission?
Can I add the fact that I thought she did an excellent job too? It was so nice and neat to read.
You certainly can. No other comments, concerns? Okay, we need a motion to accept then.
So moved.
Motion made by Todd. Is there a second?
Diane will second it.
Diane second. Roll call vote. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
On the hearings, Greg, we got a request for the Boundary Street Dog Park to be moved up because there's a conflict with a select board, or I think it's a select board meeting potentially with Laurie. Laurie's going to be attending.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that was,
Well, fine. So we'll do the we'll open the NOI for the dog park. Let's see. Who do we have? Any hands up? There's a hand up. Let me see. I
let's see,
got,
John Law, possibly.
Janet
Laurie.
Frizzoli. I'm bringing
Janet.
you in. Laurie Connors. I'm bringing you in. And that's Laurie. Yep. Okay. Jonathan Law. Coming in. All right. I see Jeanette. You're muted.
Hi, good morning. I mean, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
good night.
Yeah, whatever. Here's Jonathan. Welcome.
Hi, good evening.
And Laurie. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you so much for moving us up in the agenda. Really appreciate it.
Not a worry. Okay, we have this is a dual request, an NOI, and also a land disturbance permit for the planned dog park on Boundary Street. It's going to be a presentation, or how are we doing that?
I think
Yes.
Chair has
I just wanted to say thank you. We are very excited to be here this evening to present to you the dog park project, which is 19 years in the making. So I am going to turn it over to the Weston and Sampson team, who is going to present our plan to you and answer any questions that you might have.
Great, thank you.
He shares
Okay,
screen,
Jonathan, is that you?
Jeanette will share her screen and I will
Yes.
talk.
Do we have
Cool.
permission to share our screen?
We do.
Should be share screen at the bottom.
I don't see
Oh,
anything
I
yet.
see it. I see it.
You got it?
Yes, thanks.
While she shares the screen, I'll just acknowledge that we know this evening we can't be approved because, as people already mentioned on the call, there is a backlog in getting a DEP number, which we still don't have. We're hoping to get that by the time we have the next meeting or your next scheduled meeting by December 11th. And we also want to acknowledge that we received 68 comments late last week from Vinny. We're addressing those or reviewing those internally, and we've reached out to Vinny and his team to have a meeting with him to discuss those comments. So the comments that we received from him are not represented in this package that you saw, but they will either be incorporated or clarified before the next submission in the documents that we set forth to you.
Great.
Then.
Great. I did see the communications going back and forth, Jonathan.
Okay. All right. Great. So basically, as we mentioned, this is a 2-acre dog park. This site was actually selected during the public process that I think we had 3 meetings with local residents in Northborough. I believe we presented 4 sites and this was a selected site. It incorporates mostly a wooded area. We are removing some trees to supply an ADA compliant fenced in dog park that you'll see in the sort of rectangular area there. It's fenced in. There's a small dog park on the left side, and on the right side is a dog park for larger dogs. If you then want to go through into the wooded area, which is the toned or hatched space there, that is also fenced in and allows dogs to run freely between existing trees. As I mentioned, we're removing some trees in order to get ADA compliance within the fenced in dog areas. We have a shade shelter and some bench seating with companion spaces for people in wheelchairs to sit adjacent to those benches. We have a dog watering station in either one of those fenced in dog spaces, and we have 10 parking spaces, one of which is an ADA van accessible space. In terms of drainage improvements, we're using a flared end structure. We are doing a stone check dam with a sediment forebay, and there will be an infiltration basin, which is all on the lower portion of the site towards Boundary Street. We are just slightly within the 100-foot buffer zone, but again, the amount of work we're trying to do in that space is reduced to a minimum, except where we have to regrade, and we're putting in the surface for the ADA compliant dog park.
Jonathan, excuse me. When I'm looking at the pink, is the pink the 25?
Jeanette, the pink's at 25, correct?
Oh, there we go. Okay,
Yes,
25,
correct.
35 for the blue. Got it. Okay, thank you.
So that we obviously, the design, we purposely stayed out of the 25 and 50. Obviously, we just have to encroach into the 100-foot, but the site is very linear. The property lines, you can see the dashed line on the right side, the adjacent abutter to the east. As I mentioned, or I was about to mention, the surface in the ADA compliant zone is stone dust, and then the darker hatch space will be wood chips, so a natural surface for the dogs to run around in. And with that, I'll open it to any questions.
Couple of questions that I have here. Just a cautionary note, number one, on that little elbow there, I mean, you're right at the edge of the 35, so you want to make sure that you don't encroach in, right? You want to push the other way if all possible.
Yeah.
What about your plans for managing stormwater runoff and also animal bodily fluids? I mean, that's a concern that I have is, dog urine running into the wetlands.
I mean, typically on a dog park, I don't know how we can design for that. If a dog decides to take a pee, I mean, I think we're far enough away from the wetlands with especially if they pee within the stone dust or they pee in the wooded area, it's just going to soak up by the wood chips.
Yep.
I don't see it really infiltrating from the stone dust area to to within the buffer zone area. We're actually grading the site from, if you see the corner here, the 241, the grade actually slopes away from the wetland. So any surface runoff, whether it be a big P or stormwater, is going to head towards Boundary Street, and that's the lower portion there where we have our stormwater and drainage infiltration system.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. Commissioners, any questions you have, comments, concerns?
I have a question, Greg.
Go ahead.
The wood chips, are those removed periodically and disposed of somewhere? Or are they just supposed to die of their own accord, I guess?
No, it's a natural surface, so they will just decompose over a period of time. It'll be up to the town to decide whether they replace them. But they're not designed to be removed. They're designed to stay in place until they decompose.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I think Laurie has her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Laura, go ahead.
Hi. So we have a series of mutt-mitt stations that will be located around the dog park in various locations. I believe there are 5 proposed mutt-mitt stations. So the people who use the dog park will be responsible for policing their own dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So they will pick up any waste and they will dispose of that within these mutt-mitt stations. And then there will be a dumpster located in the overflow parking area. And that dumpster will receive the waste from the mutt-mitt stations, which will be emptied at a minimum once a week. So this will be self-policing. There will be a series of signs that will be posted around the dog park explaining that the users are expected to clean up after their dogs. And my experience, I did actually another dog park in my prior town, and people really do a great job at policing each other. So I don't really expect there to be a significant problem with waste. And if there is, then the DPW will be responsible for cleaning up the dog park on a regular basis. So in my experience, the mulch usually needs to be replaced. It eventually turns into dirt. And so it will have to be replaced probably each year, if not every 2 years, depending upon the amount of use. So they will replenish the mulch when necessary.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it's 19 years in the making, Laurie, right? So I'm guessing that the dog owners in town are going to want to abide by the rules and regulations, so that they still have access. So
exactly. So in my experience, like I said, the people who use the dog park are appreciative of the dog park, and they want a clean park.
Mhm.
So it's not in anybody's interest for it to be a wreck. So they really do a good job. And the first set of mutt-mitt stations are going to be right at the entrance. So if any of the dogs end up, making a mess even before they enter the fenced-in facility, the owners will be expected to clean up the mess and dispose of it in those mutt-mitt stations.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any more questions from the commission?
I have another question. Is this lit up at night or is this locked up at a certain time?
There'll be no lights.
Okay,
It's a dusk to dawn facility.
okay.
What,
Greg,
10
just
parking spaces? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on somebody there.
Yeah, no, I just had a quick one. It was actually about parking too, Greg. I was just kind of wondering, 10 spaces.
Yeah.
And it maybe looks like there's an area to expand that potentially too. So just kind of wondering the thoughts there. I know there are some trails and things in the area too. So you may have people that want to park here and actually walk one of the trails or something also. So just kind of wondering if you think there's enough parking right now. I mean, it seems like 10's probably a good start with a little bit of an area to expand if needed, but just kind of wondering where the justification for parking kind of came from.
So I anticipate that on average, during the busy period of time, probably about 6 parking spaces will be in use. So that's my experience with the prior dog park that I worked on, which was a very similar size to this dog park and a very similar configuration. It was also a very rural location. It's in the town of Millbury, if you're interested in checking it out. So we actually at that dog park have 3 parking spaces that are close to the dog park. And then we had a larger parking area that's a little bit further afield, maybe about 100 feet further away. And we found that people don't like to park in the further afield parking area, so they'd rather park on the grass. So that's where we came up with the 10 parking spaces. So that's kind of a worst case scenario. But on occasion, it's not unusual for dog parks to have special events. So they might have like a meet and greet, or they might have like a Halloween fundraiser, or maybe they have an educational session about how best to socialize your dog at a dog park. So the overflow parking area is mostly geared to accommodating the large events. So by no means do we want anybody to be parking along Boundary Street. It's a narrow street and the cars tend to go at a pretty rapid pace. So we wanted to kind of do more than we anticipated just to ensure that we wouldn't have any parking at all on Boundary Street. And then Jeanette, if you could actually scroll down, we do have a connection to the trail network that currently exists on the parcel and then on the adjacent conservation land that's owned by the state. So as you can see, we have an adjacent, we have an additional dual entry gate system, which was chosen for that area because it's closest to the existing trail network. So people who are using the dog park will have easy access to the trail using that gated system.
And Lori, that's not the only way to the trail, right? From the park. Is there another connection? So people, if they didn't want to walk through the dog park, they could still get to the trails?
Yeah, so actually on the state lands, they have an informal parking lot.
Okay,
So
I wasn't sure if this
it's a
was in that
gravel
same
parking
spot as
lot.
that lot, but seems like this is in a different spot then.
Like I said, we were trying to get as close to the trail as possible. So it's not exactly adjacent, but it's the closest point that we could get that was outside of the sewer easement. So you can see that dotted line in the middle of, well, towards the end of the dog park. That's a sewer easement. So we have some special fencing in that area that's removable because we can't impede access to the sewer easement. So we didn't want to put that dual gate system within the sewer easement. So that's the location that we chose.
You good, Justin?
Yeah. Oh, great.
That was the same place I was going with the question, the parking spots. So get that covered.
And I think if you also look at the size of the overflow parking, that would allow for approximately 10 more cars to park in there because it's a similar size to the permanent parking spaces. So 20 spaces in all is pretty good.
And the other great thing about the overflow parking area is that's where we're putting a dumpster, and that's where we're planning on doing the snow storage. So the paved parking area will be plowed in the winter time, and then the snow will be stored in that area. So it will go through the stormwater treatment area. So it'll be cleansed before it ultimately goes into the infiltration basin.
Good. Yeah, it's a good location. I mean, of all the locations that we've seen over the past years have come, you know, they never actually got percolated, but this is a good location, I think. All right, let me see if there's any public comments. I don't see any hands up. Okay.
The only
Vinny,
other thing, yep. I'm sorry,
What
just to
do
let
you-
you know, this one
Yeah.
is also, it's not just a notice of intent, this is also a land disturbance permit.
Right.
So they're also preparing documentation for construction phase. sediment controls.
Yep.
The answer, the idea of what your question was, Greg, about the pollutants and pathogen transport. The way they've graded this is well done, so that everything goes away from the wetlands into an infiltration basin, farthest point away from the wetlands on the site.
Yep.
And then it loops back around after treatment. So it's good. We got to work out some kinks in it, but I think the idea is the way we would really want to have it happen. And then the land disturbances, making sure that there's enough guidance there for the contractor to get the work done and not do things that are unexpected.
Okay. Very good. Good. So Vinny, you're working with Jonathan
Yes.
and team on getting those questions answered.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we have a call set up, I believe, either later this week or early next week to go over Vinny's comments.
All right. So we just need the DEP to cooperate and get us a number and their comments.
Yes.
So good. All right. If there's no more questions, then we can vote to continue this to the December meeting. That appears to be the plan.
So moved.
There's a motion by Todd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, was that Diane?
Mm-hmm.
Roll call. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
I vote yes. So we'll see you in December.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good
Thank you.
You
Good
too.
night.
Okay. We have a couple of continuations here, Vinny, right? 311 Crawford Street.
Yes. I was
Um,
contacted there, and I think you have that one. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I mean they were dormant for quite a while, but now they've got another plan they put together and they want to present it, but it's going to be presented in December, they've asked for.
Yes, they submitted it this afternoon. So,
Hmm.
or no, I'm sorry, Thursday afternoon. And
Okay. And also for 15 Prospect Street, they've asked for a continuation because they're going to maybe move the house around.
yeah, realign, because it was an L-shaped proposal with the one leg of the L getting into the 35-foot,
Right.
no structures, and they're going to try to twist it around so that L can go into the area that's available.
Good. Okay.
So
All right. Can we lump these together and vote to continue both of them?
Why not?
I think so.
Why not?
I don't.
So we're looking for a motion to continue the public hearing for 311 Crawford Street and for 15 Prospect Street until December meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dan Clark. Roll call. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
I vote yes. All right. 86 Ridge Road.
That was a septic repair.
Yep, I've got a
And
hand up, but George Connors has his hand up.
oh, is he doing that one? Okay.
I'm gonna bring George in.
Actually, that one, all we needed was the number from DEP. We had reviewed that last month
Ah, okay,
and we were all set with it. We just didn't get a number, but now we have the number.
we do have the number. Super.
Yes.
Okay. George should be joining us here momentarily, and there he is.
Here I am.
All right. So I think we got the number, George. Maybe give us the abbreviated version here, just to refresh memories.
You want me to share screen with the picture, with the diagram?
Sure.
See it now?
It says I got it. I can see it.
Okay. So we have the septic system in this location here. It's 50 feet from the wet along this axis. It's 50 feet from the wet along this axis. It is 37 feet, 35.7 to the street. There's the pond across the street. That's
Mhm.
about another 33 feet. It's a bit of a fill system in this area to replace the existing failed system. And it's shoehorned in.
Yep.
Is that succinct enough?
Yep, there weren't any options really. So,
No, no.
yeah, okay.
Yes, and we
Um,
reviewed it and discussed it at the last meeting.
Yep, okay. Any commissioners have questions or comments here?
Nope.
Looking for public input, no hands up. Okay, and Vinny, you're obviously good.
Absolutely, yep.
So we need an approval, we need to close the hearing on 88 Ridge Road,
86.
86 Ridge Road.
Yeah,
moved.
make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Roll call, Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes,
and I vote yes. All set, George, thank you.
Hold on.
Whoop.
We have to issue the decision. And the only condition, in addition to the standard ones, is to put up maybe 2 or 3 wetland signs, because like George said, it's shoehorned in there. We don't want things to expand in the future. So
On the back end, the backyard?
yeah, like at the end of the lawn areas, just so there's documentation and it's clear to the new owners, because this lot is going to be up for sale if it's not already sold. So
Yeah.
that the new owners coming in don't think that they can just fill a
Sure.
wetland area. Keep them out of
Okay.
trouble if we can.
We want to say, what, a couple of signs, maybe 25 feet apart, 30 feet apart?
Yeah, something like that. Probably 2 signs should do it. They'll get the idea.
Okay. George, can you work with Vinny on that placement? And
Yeah, you just tell us where you want them along those 2 50-foot lines. That would be my suggestion.
Yes, well, we like to keep them about 25 feet off the wetlands if there's lawn, but if the lawn encroaches into that 25, then we kind of go into the edge. I can, when you're doing the work, I can go out and we can point it out.
Okay,
And Vinny, no other special conditions other than the signs?
Not that I could think of. I thought that was the only one.
Okay, no, we concerned about any tracking dirt onto the road or?
Oh, they always have to deal with that. They
Standard,
have a
okay.
construction entrance. We have the standard, there's the DEP standard order of conditions. And then we have an exhibit A that's attached to all orders. And then this was another one, this additional special order for the signs.
All right. All right, so we need a motion to issue a order of conditions for 86 Ridge Road.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
Second by Diane. Roll call. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes,
and I vote yes.
you.
Thank you, George.
I think George,
All right.
he actually has another one. He has 6 Sherlin, so you may want to keep him here. No, he's not gone, so that's good.
No, I'm here, 2 more.
Yeah. He's hanging.
Oh, you get 2?
Sherilyn
Oh,
and
yes. Yep.
Green. But you have Howard in the middle.
Okay,
So we're doing.
it's
we're
up to
gonna
you.
do
Yeah, I didn't
Sherilyn-
realize he had
Sherilyn
2.
Drive?
Your screen again?
Share the screen again, sure. There's another field septic system.
Greg, I'm going to recuse myself because they're my neighbors.
Okay.
Wrong one, is this? Okay, we're Sherilyn now.
Can we make that a little bit bigger, bigger?
Bigger?
Yeah,
Yes.
zoom into the
Zoom in.
septic area.
Yeah, just let me, is that gonna work?
That works, yep.
Okay, so we have Sherilyn Drive down at the bottom, road down at the bottom. And we have a septic system in a very ledgy location. Vito has sent some photographs to Vignali to show the backyard really does not have any potential for a septic system. There were a bunch of test holes, they call it ledge throughout. And I think Mr. Vignali went up and looked at that over the weekend. The area that we chose is at a distant gradient from this small little wet depression on the site. There is ledge along the back line here.
Mhm.
So the system in this location replaces what was a failed system that was down in this location here. It's been moved back a little and up gradient a little. And it now requires a septic pump to pump the water into the system. It's a enhanced nitrogen system that will help reduce nitrogen into the groundwater. And the location is really, again, shoehorned in. I'm happy to respond to specific questions and comments. But I do, is this a continued one, Vinny?
Nope, nope,
No.
this is brand new.
All right. So the driveway over here, you have the utilities in this location that are going to be changed to bring in gas and utilities in this side of the house to allow for this to take place. We have the 25 and the 35-foot line. So there's a very small amount of grading in the hay bale line or the erosion control line. Wall to talk about hay bales, is at this location here, protecting the down gradient flow in this direction. Ultimately, you can see a little bit of a swale here, make silt run to that location, absent this particular erosion barrier. Any questions or comments or suggestions?
George, how far off the wetland line is the closest point, which I guess would be the pump tank? Oh, I see,
That is-
45 feet?
Let me look at my print on this. It's 40.2 feet, and the leach field is 51.
51.
Okay.
And they also have a impermeable liner. There's a dark line kind of around that tan square.
Yes,
It's an
Poly
impermeable
barrier
liner
runs
on the
along this
downhill
side.
side.
okay, good.
There and back.
Right. And there's an intermittent stream in that wetland that heads to the northwest.
Yeah, we bought those big culverts, big culvert underneath that goes underneath Sherlin Road.
Yes.
Have you been in front of the Board of Health?
Vito has told me he has the plan pending with the Board of Health and had discussions on site relative to the plan, and it should be approved.
All right.
And they've
So, any questions?
they've addressed all the questions that I had.
Okay. Any commissioners have questions, comments, concerns? All right. Do we have any public comment? I have a hand up. James Dervay. James Dervay, I'm bringing you in as a panelist.
Hello, this is James Dervay.
Yes, hello, welcome.
Thank you. I'm the buyer, the future buyer of 6 Sherlin Road, and I'd just like to advocate on behalf of this project, and I hope that it can be approved in a timely manner since it is a condition of the sale, and we do look forward to moving to Northborough soon.
This is his wife.
Good, well,
Jessica.
it's a good town, you'll enjoy Northborough. Unfortunately, we are held up by the lack of a DEP number, so we really can't close the hearing until we get that DEP number.
This is his
So-
wife, Jessica. I
I'm
just
sorry?
wanted to introduce myself as well and note that the closing is December 15th. So we're hoping that we can progress this ahead of the closing so that we can have the successful closing
Yes.
date.
Did you say December 15th?
Yes, so
Okay.
it is pretty urgent.
Right. Well, our meeting in December is on the 11th, so it looks like that would work.
Well, the septic needs to be successfully installed and functional by December 15th.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, Vinny, what do you think? Could we, I mean, we don't want to have to cause.
Well, we
an
have a
issue
couple
here.
in the same situation.
Yep.
And DEP got these last month. I emailed and tried to encourage it to happen. And the circuit rider sent a note to the person reviewing the plans, and she was hopeful that it was going to be issued this afternoon or this evening. But I've been checking my email, and even right now they haven't been received. But I think if we can get a commitment to, which they kind of already have to do, if the DEP has questions, they would have to address their questions. It's up to the commission. Officially, we're not supposed to close the hearing, but I cannot issue the order of conditions until we get the number. No, actually, I can't issue the order of conditions until we get the number, because that's what goes on the file.
But we could issue the order on the condition that it gets a DEP number.
Yes. Yep.
And then they can proceed at their own risk, and the unforeseen event, the DEP somehow has comments on this.
Right. Right. Because we have a similar situation with this one, with the well, the RDA that doesn't need it, but the 405 Howard is also in the same situation. The two of those are waiting for DEP numbers.
Yeah, well, 405 Howard, though, is not a pending sale.
No, it's not. That's right.
So it's a little different than urgency situation there. I mean, I don't want to start setting precedent here all the time, but I mean, a situation like this, I think might fall outside the realm of normal. Any other comments from the commission about this idea of moving ahead as Todd suggested?
No, I'm completely comfortable with that. I think that's hopefully the best approach for the new buyers. We can get it done on our end, and hopefully DEP comes through on their end.
Yep.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Dan, Diane, what do you think?
I'm fine with me.
Yep, fine with me.
I think that's right. I'm sorry, Dan, you've recused yourself anyway.
Diane is right.
Smart move, Diane. There you go. So, okay, then let's do that. Let's move ahead with taking a vote to close the hearing, and then a vote to issue an order of conditions. I guess would we make it dependent or contingent on receiving a DEP number?
Yeah.
Well, I won't release it until I get a DEP number, and so that there's a 21-day for me to issue these within that's the time frame following the closing of the hearing. And we just have, one of the conditions is that it won't be issued until we have the number.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right, then
and then also signs, another one to reduce any filling that might happen in the future.
Yes, some signs down on the side there. Right. Thinking maybe 2 down by the wetland boundary.
Yeah, probably 2.
Okay. All right.
I just got an order of those in today too.
So we need a motion to close the hearing for 6 Sherilyn Drive.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Justin. Roll call. Dan Clark.
Yes.
Justin Dufresne.
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Now we need issue an order of condition for 6 Sherilyn Drive, contingent, or Vinny's contingent on receiving that DEP number.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Justin. Roll call. Dan Clark.
Yes.
Justin Dufresne.
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right. So there's the plan, George.
Your next one.
Okay, I think we're good. Let me double check here.
And that's
all right. I think we're good. You want to flip right down to 4? Is it 4 or 5, Howard?
487 green is what he's got on the screen right now.
47 green, sorry, yep, okay. We walked this one, Vinny, right?
Yes, yes, you were doing my work for me. You asked if they could get to 100 feet, and Vito jumped on it, and he did move it back. So now that system is 100 feet away from the wetland.
Great. And this is an RDA.
That's why it's an RDA. They're not that close. They're beyond the 50-foot trigger with all their work, and so it's more of a relaxed standard, even though they're going to still have the erosion or the sediment control around the perimeter.
Sure, because it did slope down or did it slope down to the wetland area too? So.
It certainly does.
Okay. So it looks like here that anybody have any comments or questions from the commission about this?
My only question, just looking at it, is there anything, I see the erosion control line. Is there anything that needs to be done with the existing leach field, or does that just get abandoned in place?
It's an existing cesspool, I think, and they have to abandon it according to the DEP, to the Board of Health standards for closure of an old system or a cesspool. I'm pretty sure that's
But
right.
I just wonder that, like, maybe the erosion controls need to wrap around that so that they can get in there, and usually they have to crush it, right? And fill it
Yeah,
all in and everything.
They are around it, aren't they? What's the just
The tank is the only thing that needs to be pumped
Right.
and backfilled. That's
Okay.
an existing leach field. You can see that kind of a cloud,
Yeah.
elongated cloud.
Okay.
It's an old leach field. So it's just stone and pipe, and they basically end up becoming clean after a couple of years and just lie in the ground. We've
Okay.
counted them
Yeah.
many times.
So no need to get in there and disturb that
No.
area or anything like that. Okay.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Right.
That's
Oh,
correct.
I thought you meant the tank there, because that's within the area of the sediment controls, but
Yep.
you're looking at that, so that's good.
You good, Justin?
Yeah. No, besides that, looks good.
Any other questions, comments from the commission? We check with any public attendees. Seeing none. Okay, I believe we are looking to close the hearing, Vinny, right? And
That's
then
right.
do a negative RDA. So we need a motion to close the hearing on 487 Green Street.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Roll call, Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
I vote yes. Hearing is closed. We're looking to issue a negative determination for 47 Green Street. Any special conditions, Vinny?
I did not think of any, no.
Okay. Roll call. We need a motion to issue a negative determination.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Justin. Roll call. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you, George. Good night yourself. Thank you. Okay. 405 Howard Street.
Yes. That would be, I think, Sarah Hopkins or Brian Hopkins.
Yep, I've
And
got,
Mitch.
Mitch here, let me get Mitch in. Nope. Mitch, I'm promoting you to panelist.
Hey there, Commission.
Hello, Mitch, welcome.
Thank you.
Did anybody else have their hand up? I guess not.
I thought Sarah was going to be here. Hopkins.
Brian Hopkins is here. Yep. We got
Oh, Brian.
Hopkins
Okay,
here.
Brian. Yep, Brian and Sarah.
Okay,
got
Brian,
an
I'm bringing
email
you as a
earlier.
panelist also. There he is. Welcome, Brian. Okay. What's going on, Mitch?
All right, so I'm Mitch Maslenka with Goddard Consulting. I'm a wetland scientist representing the applicants Brian and Sarah Hopkins tonight for their proposed pool project in their backyard. So would I be allowed to share my screen?
Yes, you are, certainly.
Awesome. First, I'll show a picture. Can you guys see the picture?
Yes.
Mhm.
Awesome. So this is 405 Howard Street. The proposed pool project is going to be an in-ground pool with a patio space around it. No fences proposed. They're going to do a pool covering to help meet that standard. So there's no need for a fence around. So the proposed pool and patio are going to be within this lawn area in their backyard. So no natural trees or shrubs or herbaceous plants will be disturbed other than lawn area. So I'll show you guys the site plan now. Okay, can you guys see the site plan now?
I can.
Awesome. Okay, so here's our house that I showed you. And then here is the proposed pool, this rectangle. And then the hatched area just outside that is the patio area. So those are the two proposed items here, the proposed pool and patio. Like I said, it's all going to be within the existing lawn area. We have bordering vegetated wetlands on site. They go, so from the lawn area that you saw, there's a hillside that goes down to the bordering vegetated wetlands.
Hey, Mitch,
Over
can you
here.
zoom in like a click or two?
Is that better?
One more. Okay, that's good.
Good.
Cool. Okay, great. So it goes down to bordering vegetated wetlands around here. That's the blue rectangle or blue triangles. That's the wetland boundary there. That was flagged in September. We have a 25-foot buffer zone coming off of that wetland. So that's shown in red. So all work is outside of the 25-foot no disturb buffer zone. Our erosion control barrier will extend from an existing shed and will follow this pink line around the limit of work, all within existing lawn area. Then we have this turquoise buffer zone. This is our 35-foot no structure buffer zone. So the patio space and pool will remain outside the 35-foot no structure zone. Then, per the request of the commission, we added a few conservation signs. So that this is the sign right here, this rectangle with a little square. That's our sign. There's one going to be located here at the 25-foot buffer zone, another one here by the shed, and then another one further off here. We addressed all of Vinny's initial comments. We appreciate his comments. They had to do mostly with the site plans, some details on the site plans that we beefed up our sediment control barrier detail, adding this condition here. Sediment removal is required when the sediment reaches a third of the height of the wattle and before seeding the altered areas. We also took off there was a construction fence detail added to the plan, which we have since removed because we aren't proposing construction fence as it likely isn't needed. Our silt fence and straw wattles should be sufficient in showing and demarcating the limit of work. And I believe that's it. So let me know if the commission has any questions about the proposal.
I don't have anything that comes to mind. How about other commissioners? Any questions, comments? I see shaking heads. Okay, Vinny, you all set? Anything that's open from your perspective?
No, he took care of everything. The sign, if people go out there after construction, the signs may adjust. They could slide here and there depending on just the angles of where the pool is, but we will have 3 signs out there to protect the buffer.
Yeah, like the one behind the shed might get moved because nobody will see it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
My only just a quick comment. I
Go
know
ahead,
it's not
Justin.
shown on the plan, but
Yep.
as somebody, I put a pool in a couple years ago, and just one of the things that you have to do pretty often is, drain it down. As the rain fills it up and other things. And I'd just say I was looking before for the pool equipment. I see it now kind of in the corner of the house, and I would just kind of encourage you, if you are draining it down like towards the driveway or something like that, and not out towards the wetlands in the back. I feel like it'd be probably, it depends on how they do it, whether it's you just roll out kind of like a hose and drain it down that way, or they can kind of hard pipe it to an outlet somewhere. And I guess if you go that route, it'd be nice to just kind of take it out the front towards the driveway. So just kind of something to encourage you for, so it doesn't go back to the wetlands.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, they have a good amount of space on their site to be able to do the discharge outside the 100-foot buffer. So thanks.
Yeah, we
Brian?
can put that in as a condition too,
Yeah.
Justin.
Brian, you understand the question, Brian? The comment?
Yeah, I do.
See any issues with that from your side, you see?
No, I see no issue with that.
Cool, good. Okay, we can make that a condition, like you said, Vinny, so. All right, no other questions, comments? I don't see any hands up. Okay, let's move ahead. We'll close the hearing for 405 Howard Street.
I'm okay with that, but you mentioned that you may not want to because we don't have the number.
We can't, darn it. I'm looking at my thing there. Thank you.
I'm
Vinny.
okay with it, but
Yeah, I
is
know,
there
I
a
know.
time frame, a rush on this one? I don't see any issues with it, but it wouldn't get officially closed and finalized until
Yeah.
December 11th at our next meeting. Brian?
I mean, they're not going to be building it in December.
Yeah.
It'd be a tough time to be building, so I guess it's not a rush on my end.
Okay.
I think we can handle this without having you here, Brian. I think at the next meeting would probably be enough, unless the commission thinks we need more if things change. But basically, we're looking for a number from DEP, so I don't know that we need any expertise or special expertise, let's say.
No, I think the only exception, Vinny, would be if something strange comes in from DEP, they can get it. You can get in touch with Mitch or something.
Yes.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to continue then the notice of intent for 405 Howard Street to December 11th.
So moved.
Okay, Diane, seconded by Todd. Roll call. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner.
Yes.
I vote yes. Very good.
All right. Thank you very much, Commission.
Very good. Thanks, Mitch. Nice
Thank you,
job.
Mitch.
Thank you.
And for something like that, would I attend the next meeting for that, or is it something that we don't have to attend?
You can, or I can present it.
Yeah,
As
I
long
mean,
as it's
okay.
clear from DEP.
Yeah, if anything strange comes back in DEP, Vinny will get in touch with you two. If nothing comes back strange, it's just administrative, no reason to be here.
Okay, no, I appreciate that.
Okay, okay. Thanks, folks.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening.
Good night.
All right. Vinny, thank you for keeping your eye on me to try and close all the hearings, whether they're ready or not. That's good.
That's all right. Did we vote on that continuance? I didn't
We
write
did.
down who. To continue? Okay. I missed the who.
I believe it was
motion and
Diane
second.
and Todd.
That is correct.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. That is the hard agenda. We've no certificates of compliance. No violations. Informal discussion, got a few updates here. Let's start with Bartlett Street, the high school. I know they've actually started using the fields up there, I believe.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Oh, we got something from Justin. He raising his hand.
Nope. Shaking my head. Just
Oh, I saw the hand.
agreeing
The
with,
hand is up, I guess, but at least on my screen. Sorry. 79 Bartlett. I went out there today, and the grass is growing. I didn't see any erosion problems. There's a couple. I saw 3 bags of dog poop that were over the fence by the javelin field, but that's an operational issue that I have to get in touch with the superintendent on. But everything else looks stable, and the grass was coming in better than my lawn.
Good. Good. Okay. Forestry contract, an update.
Again, that won't take very long. Our forester had some health issues a while ago and is now catching up with other jobs, closing those up. And she is going to get back to me probably tomorrow or Wednesday. So hopefully we'll get the contract squared away. I have a draft contract for you to look at, Greg, and just to make sure of our numbers for finances. But generally, we're still waiting to finalize the contract.
Okay. I know that she wanted to get in front of the Trails Committee sometime later this
November
month, right?
20th, yes, next week. So I'm not sure we're going to make that. We may have to postpone that till December.
Yeah. I've got a hand up here. Hold on. Jeannie Cahill. Gene, I'm bringing you in as a panelist.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I have questions. I'm just learning about the forestry program, and I don't know if we're going to have a chance for public comment on it. It's very concerning, I think, to many people in the community. And
Well, let me jump in here and maybe save some angst on your part. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for public comment from our side.
And the public comment will be on the plan or on the contract or on what aspect of the forestry?
On the plan.
And yes to all. It'll be on the plan. It'll be on the harvesting contract.
Yep.
We're going to have at least one site walk at Edmund Hill. There's a question about whether we're going to do something which has changed since the initial idea was we may be doing something at Mount Pisgah because of the fire. The fire may present a beneficial situation that we can take advantage of if there is some forestry reason for it, but I'm not the expert for that. So we're trying to get our forester under contract so we can ask her and them that question.
So I guess I'm just, as a member of the public, I'm very confused about the process of how we even got here. Is it a state impetus that towns start to cut their conservation lands? Could you just explain the kind of how we got here?
Yeah, the state requires that every conservation land have and actually correct me if I'm wrong, mostly Dan, you're the real expert on this, that they have a conservation plan, forest management plan for your property. And as part of that forest management plan, there is some activity that usually I think has to occur every 20 years. And so with that, the town prepared the forest management plans for both Edmund Hill and for Mount Pisgah. Part of this contract is to update those because some of the new climate modeling and the climate impact assessments for forestry came into effect since the time we got the forest management plan. So this forester is going to go through that process. She's very familiar with that. And that process has been complete, but the management plan will be updated to do that. And at the same time, or kind of subsequently, she's going to be doing some tagging of the trees and looking at what is really existing out at Edmund Hill and at Mount Pisgah. And she'll create a harvesting plan, forest harvest plan. And once she does that, it'll be a draft plan that will then go out to the public, come to the commission. We'll have a meeting to discuss it. And it's going to be presented to the Trails Committee, the draft. We hope to have a site walk, actually in the field with the forester to kind of walk it and say, okay, this is the idea. And then we take all that feedback and come back in with a final harvest plan. And then once that harvest plan is in place, the forester will go out and mark the trees, mark the invasive plant areas, and then the actual work will start, and there'll be notification of the public through probably kiosk signage as well as notices on the town website.
So this is a done deal. Like, we are harvesting these trees no matter what. It's what we do every 20 years. It's just how these lands have been managed in the past, and we will continue to manage them. Is that correct?
We are doing something, and we don't know what, but yes, something is happening. The recommendation may be to do minor cutting, and it may be to do some protective cutting, but the there's no intent by the commission to clear cut any areas, to open huge swaths of land to erosion and problems. So we're going to try to use good forestry practices and hire a good logger that will go out there and work with the land appropriately.
And will the logger also be responsible for the invasives removal?
Some of them are able to do that and do both invasives and the logging operations, and some subcontract that. That hasn't been established yet.
When I saw in the plan, $250 per acre for invasives removal, I thought you should add a few zeros to that, especially if you're going to be paying $60 an hour for the work to assess and actually treat all of the invasives that are creeping into Edmund Hill Woods and around all the edges. Plus, if you go ahead and do all this work and the surrounding property owners still are growing burning bush, bittersweet, etc., it's gonna just be a problem again next, the year after you've done all this cutting. So I just think there's some good science out there that I think really needs to be kind of perhaps looked at, as well as some practicalities about the fragmentary nature of our woods here in Northborough. And so I'm really eager to participate in that public process.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I got another hand up here, Ginny Lemmer. It cut the name off. I'm going to bring you in, Ginny, as a panelist. Lemmerman.
Oh, our new Trails Committee member, I think.
You here, Ginny?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to share the last Trails Committee meeting in town. There was a lot of concerns that there were a lot of people in town interested in this, but were really, really uneducated. And that's why the November 20th meeting was scheduled, I think, right, Vinny?
Absolutely, yes.
If you're going to sign the contract this week, is there any way we can keep that on the calendar? Because the other concern that came out strong and clear was people were feeling that our understanding is some trees were going to get cut to help pay for the consultant. And the more we probably don't have any concerns. We're just really stupid right now. And we want to talk to that consultant and learn more. The consultant I know is from a tree cutting company, but there's also a concern about the invasives, and we don't know about them. And, could we educate the Trails Committee enough to help with the invasive management, ongoing? And so anyways, there's a lot of people who want to get involved in this. And so the sooner we can learn more, the better. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Fair enough. I mean, I think probably the starting point, and then will be that meeting with the consultant, hopefully on the 20th.
So Vinny, don't try to push it out to December if you can help it.
No, I was hoping that meeting was going to happen in August. So I'm trying to get this moved along so we can just get some decisions, because I hear a lot of questions, and unfortunately I don't have the background and the knowledge to just answer them myself, because we just want to speak with the forester. She has some great ideas and responses to the questions that I've forwarded to her. But I don't have the depth to be able to present them to the public. I'm trying to get her on board so that we can have her answer the questions and do what's needed.
Because that definitely, what we've heard so far has been very concerning. That a big key, one of the drivers is, trees that might fall down in the woods on somebody, and we don't think there's much chance of that. So a lot of people would rather do nothing than do something that would invade that area to take trees out. So, and maybe that isn't any part of the plan, but we don't want to necessarily have to cut anything if we don't have to. So that's it. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Stay involved, please. We can use your expertise and input.
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to echo that, Greg. I mean, I think just having people like Gene and Ginny, people that
Sure.
are involved, that care about it, will help to really kind of shape this and make it better too, So I think that, having them involved is great. I love all the public outreach that we're going to do around this, to make sure that we get people involved and educated and really kind of understand the process. And so, it just seems like one of those that we know these steps need to be taken. We want to take them as carefully as possible, and to have people that are really kind of on top of it, is going to make it that much better of a project.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we were wondering too, is the contract that's being signed this week, is how much of a dollar commitment is the town making to that consultant?
That's kind of what we have to figure out the scope first, what's included, and then the next step is the dollar number. It's not insignificant. The commission has some money. There is also talk that once we get things a little established as to what's going to be done, we can apply for funding and grants from the state. But we really need to get someone on the ground to look at things and have a scientific assessment of what's going on, not just what I think needs to be done or what a couple of guys in the area think need to be done. It's got to be a professional.
So, but it's a contract without a dollar amount on it right now?
Yes,
Like
correct.
we're committed to something, but
We have not committed to anything, any dollar amount. There's the issue is that the scope was clear, but once we had the scope, we needed to adjust what was in the scope because what we found in the field was a little bit different than what was thought to be in the field. So there were adjustments in the forest management plan needs to get tweaked a little to get to qualify for even more additional state funding. So that's why we're going to try to spend a few dollars to get some adjustments to those forest management plans to qualify for the climate change initiative that the state is doing, because there's money available for doing things with that. And some of that includes a lot of the invasive management and carbon sequestering and other things associated that, again, I know a couple of the words, but the reality behind it is what we need an expert for.
yeah, get her to the meeting. That'd be awesome.
Right. We're trying.
Yes. Yes.
So, Greg and Vinny, I guess I'm curious, is there an agenda for when she's coming next week? Do you know exactly what she's talking about? She's just there to answer questions, or?
No, the intent was to have her present the ideas of forestry and how she thinks they might apply to the lands in Northborough. Since it's going to be next week, she's not going to have had time to look at the real specifics of the area, but I believe she has the background to say, okay, if this condition, we would go in that direction. And if we run into these other conditions, we would go in that directions. And I think part of it is that we want her to hear what the Trails Committee, their concerns are, and just the ideas of how to work everything and pull everything together.
One thing, I've read the master plan, and it's really pretty specific on all the different areas of Edmonds Hill, and you would think that does she need more than that?
That's just what I thought, but yes, she does. There's a packet, there's some more detail that needs to be, there's certain aspects of the forestry that need to be filled in to evaluate certain things that it's over my head. But yes, she needs more than what I thought, or than what is in the forest management plan.
Another thing from just to share with you guys, the Trails Committee meeting is, I know you sent out the RFP to 7 different companies, and only this one company answered, and so that's the one Northborough went with. But there were concerns that it is better left undone, than to have to follow just one company, which happens to be a tree cutting company that's got this relationship with us now. So we'd love to meet her and hear.
Yeah, and I think you'll be impressed when you do meet her. The idea that there were 7 and we got 1 back. We were very selective with the foresters, because there are some that have experience doing this more selective work, and there are others that just kind of are made to, they're your training and experience is to clear land for development. And that's not the kind we want. So that's why we had a selective list for foresters, and they are very busy. And it's one of those things that they have time. It's not a bunch of young folks that are doing the work, and they love doing the work, and that's what keeps them going. So they are very selective on what jobs they take. And there aren't a lot of foresters in this area that do this work. So we were putting out proposals to foresters 40, 50 miles away, and they just didn't want to travel.
Right.
Okay, does that answer some of your questions, Ginny?
Yes, it's very helpful. Yeah, the more you guys can clue us in, the better. That's great.
Yeah, we want to be transparent here. There's nothing secretive going on from our side, so we will certainly clue the town in as best we can. All right. Thank you. Let's see. Let's talk about 432 Whitney Street, Vinny.
All right.
Update on that.
Well, that one is also an easy one. There has been no change. The building inspector issued a permit a month ago, I think, for maybe a little over a month ago, for an agricultural building on the property on the south side of, or the, I think it's the side is that, the east side of Whitney. Not the property that has the animals on it, or the majority of the animals. He grazes cows out there, but it's the area right next to the railroad tracks. And he got issued a building permit. He committed to, Santa Anza, the owner, committed to submitting a plan and getting approval from the commission, if needed, for the work he's going to be proposing to get an access road to go up to that building. And he has not started to do any work, has not gone any farther. And I anticipate that he will submit something soon now that he has the building permit. But we have not gotten anything.
Okay. I drove by there today, didn't see any activity. I did see a camper parked in there, but that was about it. But...
Okay, I think that was there when I walked it a couple of months ago, back in August, or I think it was August or July that I walked it.
So it's been confirmed that he has agricultural exemption, right?
Yes.
So is part of that exemption require him to come forward with a plan to Concom's? Or is it a gesture on his part to do that?
Because it's an land in agricultural use, he is exempt from certain portions of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right.
But he's not totally exempt from it. The decision is made by the commission as to whether what he's proposing really does comply with the exemption. So he needs to present something and show what's going to be done if he's within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yep.
If he's outside the 100-foot buffer zone, it's basically assumed, or 80 to 100 feet away from the wetlands that you can clearly see, then it's assumed that he's able to do it. It's not an issue. But once he starts getting close to the wetland with activity, then something needs to be presented to the commission.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll just wait.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Diane.
Why did you put in cease and desist after the map and parcel number?
Oh, because there is an existing cease and desist on the property. I think it was in May of 2019.
2020, I think.
2020. Oh, May 19th, 2020. Yes, sorry. And he got a cease and desist from the commission that he couldn't continue to, he was in there working on an access road, an old access, and he was denied, or he was told to cease and desist by the commission from continuing to work, and he had to come before the commission and get an order of conditions on that work that he was proposing before he continued. And thus far, he's been in compliance with that because he stopped working and he hasn't done anything since. He has also not submitted any plan yet, but the cease and desist still exists on the property.
Well, maybe that ought to be corrected then, because the way it the way it reads now, it's like he has permission, but he doesn't. So I think it should be, the word existing should go in there or in parentheses or something so that
Okay.
you'll understand in the future what happened.
We can make that change on future agendas, Vinny, right? Easy,
Yep, I can do that.
easy peasy. The
Thank
magic
you.
of our word.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. I don't see any hands up. Meeting schedule 2024. Mondays except for October, or second Monday except for October
And November.
and November. Okay. It's fine with me.
Yeah, that works.
Works for everybody. Anybody have
Yep.
issues with? Okay, fine.
Good.
All right, good. Good. That is all I have here. Vinny, anything else on your side?
No, I don't know if people have driven by 75 Ridge Road. They're doing a bang up job out there.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, what is it? 360,000 pounds of trash came out of that site. Huge. Unbelievable amount of trash when you clear the leaves and stuff. Like 6 inches deep over a lot of areas, and he's
Wow.
actually doing a very good job about keeping the vegetation in the 0 to 25 foot zone. He handpicked all those areas. The only time he went in with a machine was when he went in to take down the buildings that were within 10 feet of the wetlands. He went in, ripped them down, and pulled them straight back out. Did a really good job. And right now we're planning to go out and look at a couple of trees, the big trees that now all the other trees have been removed. They've got an arborist who's tagged a couple, and I've got to go out and check with the planning director to approve a couple more trees. I think they said a handful of trees that they'd like to take down that might cause a problem. What I thought, and actually would pass by the commission, was the idea that they have concern of a couple of the trees that might fall onto the proposed houses. A couple of 80 to 100 foot pines that are now swaying an awful lot. And my thought or inclination is to have them cut them off at like 15 or 20 feet off the ground, not just take them all the way down to the ground, but leave snags for wildlife habitat. I wasn't sure if people had ideas or other suggestions of things to do for those situations that might be a risk to the structures.
Well, having big pines in my own yard that I've got to figure out what to do with, because they're on a corner of my lot, that if they fall one way, they're going to smash my neighbor's good shed. If they go the other way, they go on a septic system. If they come my way, there's no way to get to them. So I'm just watching them every time there's a windstorm to make sure that they sit still as much as possible. So I would vote to get rid of them, simply because if we have another season like this one, the number of pine cones that were on the tops of each of those trees is enormous, and they're everywhere. So I would, from that, and plus the fact that if they get hit by lightning or something, there's going to be big branches coming down. It's probably a better idea to have them gone.
Vinny, isn't there some risk with cutting a tree 15, 20 feet up? You leave that exposed stump, not a stump, you leave that exposed trunk there, and you can get things happening inside you don't want to happen inside, whether it's water or invasives of some sort. Or
yeah, well, the idea is, I think oftentimes you'll want, because that's what happens in nature. The tops get snapped off pine trees, they get snapped off oaks, and then the tree ends up dying, and it's a snag, a tall standing snag, and it'll stay there for years until the roots rot out, and then it falls into the water. So what I was kind of thinking with that, cutting it off at 15 or 20 feet, was the idea that you leave it there for wildlife habitat, for birds, the woodpeckers to get into the ants that are going to be getting into there. And then at some point when it falls, it's only 15 or 20 feet high, so it's not going to fall onto any structures, because no structures are allowed within 35 feet of the wetland. So that was my thought, but that's what I mean. I'm open to suggestions. I know maybe Dan, do you think it does provide any reasonable benefit, or is it worth, or should they just cut it down?
No, I think leaving a standing live tree that will soon die can provide, some significant sort of long-term habitat as it starts to decay and provides different habitat for different animals at different times. Plus, you leave the roots intact for a while anyway, so some soil stability and stuff on the shoreline. So seems reasonable to me. It gets rid of the potential risk from a full-size tree toppling over. So seems like a good approach.
Okay.
There you go. Seems reasonable to me, Vinny. I'm convinced.
All right.
But yeah, if anybody driving by there and want to pull in, I mean, we have an open order, so all the commissioners are eligible to go in there. But you can park in the riprap and take a walk through. But I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yep. Just let the operator know you're with the commission.
Yes.
He's had a few people just wandering around there while he was doing the work, and they get in the way. It's liability, which he doesn't want.
Well, the good news there is also is that a couple of the abutters across the street are thrilled with it happening. They're very excited about what was that pretty nasty spot. Now it's going to be much cleaner. So,
yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything that they've seen going on in their neck of the woods? No front loaders in wetlands. No strange activities taking place.
We've had some, just so the commission's aware, we had some complaints about the tree cutting along the power lines. Nelson tree has been going down a lot of streets, and they're kind of aggressive, but that is allowed under the management aspects of the Wetlands Protection Act. They say that got a couple of reports, and I went out and inspected a couple of stumps that were near or actually in wetlands. And again, those were standing dead trees, big old elms. So they were hanging and possibly going to fall onto the wires. So Nelson took them out, the tree company took them out, and it wasn't pretty, but they didn't make a mess in the wetlands, but they did cut a tree that was in the wetlands. But I decided that it was associated with an exempt activity. But if you get complaints, let me know.
I also saw the note you sent about the cows wandering around Diane's neighborhood there. There are some cows on the loose that have been going down to, what is it, Pine Knoll?
Pine Knoll, yes.
Presumably coming from the Anza farm.
Probably.
So, but not our issue. It's a Board of Health issue. But
right, isn't there an animal officer in town? I mean, that's usually we've dealt with them, or I had dealt with them in the past, and I was out there with a stick shooing cows back when I was working in my last job. So it does happen at farms. You just got to be patient.
Yeah, I guess they're eating people's grass and leaving surprise on the front lawn. So I don't have to do that. But anyway, moving along. Okay, December 11th. Anybody have any conflicts that you know of at this date time?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. I think, Vinny, unless you have anything else, we can adjourn. Yeah.
I am great with adjourning. That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by everybody. Roll call. Dan Clark.
Yes.
Justin Dufresne.
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
Yes.
Diane Goldner.
Yes.
I vote yes. And thank you, Kaylee, for your help tonight. Seamless.
My pleasure. Happy to help.
Very, very good. Everybody
Yes,
have a great
thank you.
Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, safe travels.